So in our last video, we imported a series of, or a sequence of photographs into a group, and then we put a mask on those. And then as we play through, you'll see that the mask is still there, and looking through, we might need to adjust where these pictures are so we can actually bring the whole group down a little bit more, so we can actually see them a little bit better. Okay, so always check that so we're not cutting off too much at the top and as we go through. Okay, so let's close our still group. We should have had it open. Let's close that, and let's go ahead and hit Command S to save our progress so far. So we feathered it, and now we think we have this pretty much in the right area. We're not cutting off too much. To further integrate the photos into the overall look of the project, we're going to copy the photos, the whole group, and then we're going to add some filters to the copies. So previously we copied the layers by duplicating them. Motion provides another alternative to duplicating. It's called cloning. And by cloning a layer or group, you actually use less memory, and the changes made to certain properties of the source layer will be passed on to the clones. So close the layer, and we still have stills selected. And at the top, we're going to go to Object, and we're going to make a clone layer. And you can do that by clicking right here or pressing the K button on the keyboard. And a clone layer appears in a new group above the stills group. So here we have this, and here we have our clone layer. We're going to change the blend mode, and so we need to actually see our blend mode. So we're going to go to our View, Layer Columns, and then Blend Mode. And we're going to change this from normal to linear light. And this will sort of brighten up the before and after, so it's blending those two layers together to brighten that area up. It still doesn't match quite the look of the rest of it, but we're going to colorize the clone and then blur it to blend it in. So we need to click the Add Filter pop-up menu and choose Color Correction and then Color. So here is our pop-up window, Color Correction, and Colorize. So we're going to change our black color to a grayish color. Let's go with a dark gray. Okay, and then our remap white, we're going to change this to a light brown. So your orangish red colors, and then you're going to darken it a little bit to give it that sort of brownish color to it. The next thing we're going to add, the next filter we're going to add to our clone layer is a blur. So in our blur, still in our filters area, we're going to the one that says Gaussian. A Gaussian blur softens the image by arranging each pixel with its neighboring pixels. So now our amount, let's change our amount to 20. Right there, and so it blurs it, and then we have our colors and everything. So let's go ahead and save our work, Command S, and then let's play through the project. And as we're watching along, if you think you need to reposition your clone area, the clone layer, or the individual photos in the stills group, then go ahead and do what you think you need to do. So as we play through, then we'll look through it and see. this isn't looking too bad. It's adding some different effects to the ones that are colored anyway, and it's brightening them up and adding that same kind of color that matches our background as well, and that's the brownish color we're looking for to help that blend in a little bit more. Okay, last photo, and now we're back at the beginning. So let's go ahead and pause it and take our playhead back to the beginning, and go ahead and save. At that point, if you made any changes, make sure you save those as well. Let's rename our group that has the clone layer. Let's rename this, so double click on the group, and then we're going to call it Graphics and Stills. Now we want to add our stills layer to this, so we're going to take this and move it up to the graphic and stills. Well, that kind of hurts our clone layer because it's above the stills and our filter, so we need to take this and move it up one, so where our clone layer is on top of our stills. So we can just do that, or we could have said send the stills to back. You could have gone to object and then send to back. So we're going to close the clone layer if you haven't done so already. And now we're going to open up our file browser. So we're in File Browser. And we're looking for the file that says Graphics Over. And you'll see that this has some elements in it that are already pre-made because we don't need to go over these things again because they are very similar to what we've already done. So we're going to go ahead and make sure our playhead's at the beginning and drag the graphics over to the graphics and stills section. So we're going to take this and drag it to this layer. Okay, so now it's put these graphics, and we can actually look at what these are. We haven't done this in a while, so let's take off some of those other layers so we can actually look and see what's involved in this layer. And it's not that much, but it helps connect everything else. So let's go ahead and put our layers back on so we can see everything at once. And we have all of these different layers in this graphics over. So this is actually a motion project within a motion project. The layers in this group have blend modes and filters applied to help composite them into the project that's already similar to what we've done before. Now if you wanted to, you could pick each one and see what it's doing and how it's affecting the overall selection layers. So we have our years put in there, and we have another brayer layer added. We have some filtering and some linear lights and multiplying there. So we can play through the project. And one thing that I notice is that to document the years is a little dark still. It's kind of hard to read. So let's go back to our beginning and let's close that graphic and let's open up our titles. And it might be a good idea to open up our color correction and let's colorize this layer. And let's remap this and make this a little bit brighter, maybe a little redder to match the colors that are already there. So if we have something that's closer to that right there, and also do that to our color backed, which is our other layer, and you can see that helps brighten up those as well, because it's a linear blend between those at linear light. And maybe we need to move the title down just a little more. So let's take the title, make sure we're on the select, and let's bring that down. And that also means we need to bring down our vellum, in our graphics under our torn vellum. And we have 2 layers of these, so we need to select those 2 layers and bring those down a little bit more. So now to document the years is a little bit easier to read because it's not with the photographs as the stills, is what we called it earlier. And if we need to, we probably can bring this up a little bit more as well. So there is, and play through, our animated opening sequence, and kind of going fast toward the end, but that's the rest of it. So this last thing we need to do is just go ahead and save. So Command S, and we can go ahead and close all of our layers, our different groups. Command S to save, and there we have our opening sequence. Next time we'll start with lesson number 3.